For what feels like forever, the WNBA has been constantly criticized and mocked.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the WNBA just because it's not good.
Basketball fans have poked fun at the empty championship parades and laughed at the small MVP trophies that looked like they came from a dollar store. Some even fell asleep while sitting courtside at games. Online, jokes circulate like, "I'm so mad. I had 2 WNBA tickets in my car, and today someone broke in, and now I have 4 WNBA tickets." You get the idea? The WNBA's image and reputation have been less than impressive.
The WNBA officials expanded to 10 teams this week, adding franchises in Detroit and Washington, D.C. But before you get too excited about the new additions to the league, remember, all of the players are still women.
Honestly, as a diehard NBA fan, the only WNBA trade that ever grabbed my attention was when Brittany Griner was exchanged for the Merchant of Death. It might sound harsh, but I'm just trying to highlight the fact that the WNBA has been so under the radar that even big basketball fans like me hardly hear about it. Lately, though, that seems to be shifting. Lately, it seems like everywhere I turn in the basketball world, it's all about Caitlin Clark. Even during the 2024 NBA Finals, her name kept popping up. As a basketball fan, you just can't avoid hearing about her. After watching her games, reading articles, and listening to her interviews, it's clear why the hype is real. Her shooting is unbelievable, and the rest of her game is just as impressive. People are calling her the female Steph Curry, while others compare her to the legendary Pistol Pete Maravich. Before she even set foot in the WNBA, she was already being mentioned alongside some of the greatest names in the sport. Right now, she's completely changing the landscape of women's basketball, and many believe she's the most groundbreaking women's player of all time. In a league that's been struggling financially since its start, she's probably the only player who can truly draw fans and fill stadiums, boosting revenue along the way.
You just really 17,000 people at the game yesterday, bro.
And listen,
at 10:30 in the morning.
God damn. Matinee.
Her story right now reminds me a lot of Ronda Rousey, the former UFC champion who put women's MMA on the map when no one was paying attention. From that perspective, the WNBA should be incredibly thankful because they finally have a chance to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight. Yet, instead of embracing her, they're attacking, bullying, and doing everything they can to corner and shut her down. Why is that? Why is the WNBA openly going after their star player, the one person who has a real shot at transforming their sport?
Up in time, Clark for the win! Yeah!
This is why Caitlin Clark will go down as one of the best to ever play the game.
To understand why some WNBA players are turning against Caitlin Clark, we first need to take a closer look at the league's culture. About 7 years ago, a former WNBA champion and top draft pick revealed that she was bullied within the league due to her sexual orientation and popularity. In her own words, she said, "I wanted to play 2 more seasons of WNBA, but the experience wasn't good for my mental health. I didn't like the culture in the WNBA, and without saying too much, it was toxic for me. It broke my spirit." Following her statement, many WNBA players denied the claims, saying her experience was personal and didn't represent the league as a whole. While their point might be fair, her story becomes more believable when you start adding up other examples. Take Luka Doncic, for instance. When he first joined the NBA, he tried to show support for the WNBA by creating what seemed like a harmless video.
What's up, Ricky? I know you're having a great season, so just keep pushing. I know you're going to be the rookie of the year, so best of luck to you.
The video Luka Doncic created was completely harmless and, if anything, leaned towards being positive. The WNBA could have either thanked him or just stayed silent if they didn't agree with it. Instead, the Minnesota Lynx responded harshly with a tweet saying, "Says a guy who hasn't been to a WNBA game all season but got sent a jersey and recorded a scripted video." The tweet is still up if you want to find it. It was never deleted. This reflects a broader mindset within the WNBA. Another recurring issue is that the league has often complained about pay, arguing they deserve higher salaries simply because NBA players earn so much.
We're not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Got it.
Not a flagrant foul penalty one, which it probably should have been upon review, at least by our account. This, you could have gotten Reese for a personal, but can also see that being a no call.
Fans are really upset that nobody from Caitlin Clark's team is there to back her up as she faces tough times on the court. It's unfair for Caitlin and pretty sad from Angel Reese's perspective. While many NBA and WNBA veterans have shown their support for Clark, Angel McCoughtry took it to the next level. She's offered herself to the Indiana Fever, ready to come in and defend Clark.
Caitlin, she's a great player. I'm a fan of her. You know, I think our girl's jealous. I don't know. She got $28 million from Nike.
She's getting a $28 million deal from Nike, which is huge considering that half of the WNBA players won't even make $1 million in their entire careers. A retired 5-time WNBA All-Star has stepped up, offering to be Caitlin Clark's bodyguard as she keeps getting targeted by other players. Angel McCoughtry, now 37, weighed in on the recent buzz surrounding Caitlin Clark after Chennedy Carter's cheap shot on Saturday. Clark's fans are hoping for someone to step in and protect the Indiana Fever star since her current teammates aren't doing much. Speaking with TMZ Sports, McCoughtry said she's willing to come out of retirement to be Clark's bodyguard if the Fever needs one. She's got more than just a tough attitude on the court. The 2-time WNBA scoring champion, drafted first overall in 2009, sounds ready for a fight.
Lead. McCoughtry skying in, able to finish in the foul.
Take care of your players, all of y'all, McCoughtry said.
Take care of your players. All of y'all. I mean, I don't care who it is.
McCoughtry said it boldly, showing her willingness to join the Indiana Fever to defend and support Caitlin Clark. Former NBA players and others in the basketball community have raised concerns about protecting Clark as some WNBA players try to gain a physical and psychological edge over her. Fellow WNBA players seem to think they can make a name for themselves by targeting Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, Fever teammates have passively watched as Clark gets pushed around on the court. During Saturday's win over the Chicago Sky, Fever players stood by as Chennedy Carter unnecessarily hip-checked Clark on an inbound pass. Since that dirty play, no Fever teammates have stepped up to defend Clark or voice their support. McCoughtry added, "I don't care who it is. If somebody's dragging your player down by the neck, I'm in your face. What the hell are you doing? Hey, we could go have lunch later, but right now, we're competing. Don't grab my player like that."
I'm gonna step up for you. Somebody get my teammate face. Here I am.
Why is that happening, Angel?
After receiving a lot of criticism from fans and veterans like McCoughtry, Indiana Fever players have shown their intent to fiercely defend rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. They've been facing a whirlwind of opinions accusing them of not safeguarding their star player. The #1 pick in the recent WNBA draft has endured a lot of physical play, sparking debates over her teammates' protective efforts. Kelsey Mitchell, one of the team's leaders, addressed these criticisms head-on after a recent practice, stating, "At the end of the day, not only is she human, but she's a 22-year-old kid. There are certain things she's going to experience over time," Mitchell said.
She deserves to give herself some grace, and I think a lot of people around this world should too. And I think that at the end of the day, not only is she human, she's a 22-year-old kid.
It's our job as a team to make sure she's covered from a standpoint of feeling mentally and physically safe. Obviously, we want her to feel at home all the time, stressed Mitchell.
She's going to transition. There's going to be things that she's just going to experience that comes with time. And I think that the world should give her some grace. I really do. And I think that's our job as a team to make sure that she's covered from the standpoint of feeling mentally and physically safe, obviously. But psychologically, we want her to, at the end of the day, she got to go home and sleep. So that's our deal. We want her to feel at home all the time.
The backlash intensified after a controversial incident involving Chicago Sky's Chennedy Carter during a heated game. Carter shoved Clark to the ground, and the Fever players were criticized for their slow response and lack of confrontation towards Carter's antics. Angel Reese and other Sky members even applauded the cheap shot, highlighting the contrasting reactions between the two teams. This behavior has alarmed many, including politicians. Indiana Representative Jim Banks is demanding answers from the WNBA to ensure Clark is protected from such incidents. Banks sent a letter to Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, seeking details on the league's plans to safeguard Clark. In his letter, Banks praised the increased fan interest in women's basketball that Clark has generated before referencing Carter's seemingly unprovoked foul. He also mentioned that the foul was visibly cheered on by Carter's teammate Angel Reese. While acknowledging the state's familiarity with tough basketball, Banks described the incident as a cheap shot that could have resulted in an injury and should not be tolerated. He criticized the lack of punishment for Carter beyond a retroactive upgrade to a flagrant foul and some unrelated fines for missing media appearances. To Banks, this indicates that the WNBA isn't holding hostile players accountable or enforcing their own rules of sportsmanship. Banks posed several questions to the commissioner, including what steps the WNBA is taking to curb excessive physical targeting of specific players, whether individual organizations will be held responsible for allowing players with histories of violence to target their competitors, and if repeatedly diminishing fellow players' talents benefits the league's overall success. He also asked if it is inspiring to young female athletes to see players like Caitlin Clark physically targeted for their success. There's no question that many WNBA players have struggled to hide their resentment towards Clark for the attention and money she generates through endorsement deals. The WNBA's only hope of achieving lasting relevance in the broader sports landscape is by creating and sustaining stars. Clark is essentially the first star of this magnitude the league has had in years, if not ever. It is not in the league's best interest to allow other players to target her, especially if that targeting leads to injury. Banks' questions are crucial, and the WNBA's answers may be even more so.
What an incredible talent she is, 2 Final Fours, leading scorer, history of college basketball. So I look forward to watching her ongoing development in the league.
But the response to this letter from the WNBA commissioner is epic. Speaking at his usual press conference ahead of the NBA Finals on Thursday, League Commissioner Adam Silver addressed the flagrant foul by Chicago Sky guard Chennedy Carter on Indiana Fever player Caitlin Clark last weekend. He called it a welcome to the league moment, adding that it's nothing new in basketball.
It's nothing new in basketball that there's sort of welcome to the league moments.
Carter's off-ball foul against Caitlin Clark on Saturday has sparked an outcry from critics, who argue that Carter appeared to go out of her way to throw her hip and shoulder into Clark, who had her back turned and fell to the ground after the foul. Silver addressed a wide range of topics, including Clark's rising stardom in the league, the future of the WNBA, and an upcoming media rights deal. Of course, I want to see Caitlin Clark treated fairly and appropriately in the league, Silver told reporters. I would say it seems like she can take care of herself. She's a tough player.
Of course, I want to see Caitlin treated fairly and appropriately in the league. I would say it seems like she can take care of herself. She's a tough player.
Following the foul on Saturday, Clark told reporters she was doing her best not to let it get to her. I think at this point, I know I'm going to take a couple of hard shots a game, and that's what it is. I'm trying not to let it bother me and just stay in the game and focus on what's important, because usually it's the second person that gets caught if you retaliate. Silver called the passionate interest in Clark, as well as her rivalry with Chicago star player Angel Reese, very healthy for women's basketball and the league.
I think ultimately this is very healthy for women's basketball in the WNBA.
It's generating a lot of extra interest, Silver said. To be fair to the other players and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, this didn't just start this year. He noted that while the WNBA has had several star players in recent years, Clark has significantly increased interest in the league.
It's generating tremendous additional interest. In fairness to the other players and in fairness to Commissioner Engelbert, this didn't just start this year. Certainly, we're seeing an acceleration of it with Caitlin, but many individual stars who came in this league in the last several years, and then again, I've been with the league for a long time, so I was there the early days with Val Ackerman, and of course David Stern when we developed the WNBA.
If you look back at our original business plan from 28 years ago, we didn't anticipate it would take this long to achieve the level of popularity we're seeing now, Silver said. Ultimately, I don't want to make too big of a deal about one player or one call. However, the growing rivalries in professional basketball, both between teams and individual players, can be beneficial for the sport, he continued.
If you went back and looked at our original business plan from 28 years ago, we didn't think it would be such a long timeline to kind of break into the sort of popularity we're seeing now. So ultimately, I don't want to make too big an issue about one particular player, one particular call, but I think the burgeoning rivalries in professional basketball, you see rivalries obviously among clubs, but also among individual players too. And I think that can be ultimately good for the sport.
Earlier this week, ESPN host Pat McAfee apologized for referring to Clark as a white bee.
I utilized the words white bee to describe Caitlin Clark as being the superstar. Those were not my intentions, but that's how you took it. That's on me. I do apologize.
During a segment discussing whether race has influenced the WNBA rookie's rapid rise, Silver said he accepted McAfee's apology and considered it a misstep. Regardless of the commissioner's views, Caitlin's growing fan base and her exciting yet kind style of play are what's truly genuine, Silver said. This is what basketball fans want. Women's basketball enthusiasts are now Caitlin's fans because she's brought the sport to a place where everyone is talking about it. When Caitlin walked into the Indiana training camp, the excitement was palpable. Everyone turned to look at her, filled with curiosity and hope. People started comparing her to the legendary Larry Bird, highlighting the high expectations and excitement surrounding Caitlin's game. Back in 1979, Larry Bird joined the Boston Celtics right after his college days at Indiana State. Before he arrived, the Celtics had just endured their worst season ever, finishing with a 23-59 record. But Bird's rookie season sparked a dramatic turnaround, with the Celtics achieving a 61-21 record and clinching the Atlantic Division title. This phenomenon became known as the Larry Bird effect. Could Caitlin Clark bring about a similar change for the Fever as Bird did for the Celtics? Last year, the Fever finished with a 13-27 record, and the year before, they had the worst record in the WNBA at 5-31. The potential for transformation is clear. Just as Bird took the Celtics from their worst season to division champions, Clark has the chance to revitalize the Fever. If she can replicate Bird's impact, she might lead the Fever back to playoff contention, something they haven't seen since Tamika Catching's last season in 2016.
That's new to me. I think no matter what is going to happen, there's always going to be expectations and pressure on my shoulders and pressure on this team to be really good, and that's how you want it. That's exactly, we wouldn't want anything else.
The excitement was palpable as the Indiana Fever kicked off their 2024 training camp at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The familiar sounds of sneakers on the court, swishing nets, and teammates communicating filled Salesforce Court as the Fever returned for their first day of on-court action. Most of the team was there, including stars like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, ready for an intense 2-day training camp. Head coach Christy Sides and her coaching staff wasted no time putting the players through their paces, evaluating their skills and chemistry. For Clark, this was her first official practice as a professional player, and she didn't disappoint. She showed the same talent and determination that earned her accolades in college, eager to make her mark in the WNBA. Despite the challenges and whirlwind of recent months, Clark was grateful for the opportunity to be back on the court with her teammates.
I say I'm a pro by any means, but it's been fun. I think it definitely has a big city feel, but at the same time, it feels small and it's easy to get around. I mean, I'm staying mostly in downtown Indianapolis. I'm not driving everywhere yet.
As the Fever geared up for their preseason games, Clark felt the pressure and excitement of playing at the professional level. She seemed ready to see what the team could achieve, confident in their abilities. Caitlin Clark is set to make her WNBA debut with the Fever in the 3rd week of May, but she wants to remind everyone that she's human, not a magician. As the top pick in a highly anticipated WNBA draft class, the weight of expectations is heavy, but she's handling it well. She's urged people not to expect miracles right away, emphasizing the importance of giving herself grace as she transitions to the pros. Clark acknowledges that perfection isn't realistic and that there will be challenges. She's not aiming to score 40 points per game from the start. Instead, she plans to learn from her teammates, enjoy the journey, and stay true to herself. The excitement around Caitlin is so strong that even her workout sessions have become viral sensations. During her first Indiana Fever workout on Tuesday, a 15-second clip of her shooting around quickly gained traction online. As the #1 pick in the recent WNBA draft, Clark showed her skills by going a perfect 5 for 5 in the video. This impressive performance follows her remarkable college career, where she became the NCAA's all-time leading scorer with 3,951 points at Iowa. Fever's training camp has captivated fans more than ever. During a scrimmage, Caitlin impressed everyone by dribbling past a male player and nailing a three-pointer. A fan posted a video of the play online, dubbing it, "Caitlin Clark broke his ankle." Due to how she faked out her opponent, teammate Erica Wheeler cheered her on with a playful "bye-bye boy" as the guy tried to keep up and nearly twisted his ankle. Dick's Sporting Goods even chimed in on social media, praising Erica for her support. Erica, who has been playing in the WNBA for 9 years, has been a big fan of Clark's from day one. Despite being a star and the top pick by the Fever from Iowa, Clark is still considered a rookie. Erica noted, "She's one of the best players in the world right now, but she's so humble. She's always asking for advice and trying to improve." Clark understands there's a big difference between college and professional basketball, but she's ready for the challenge. She's excited about the faster pace of the WNBA, saying it suits her style. "The coaches here have been watching me for a while and have some great plays lined up," Clark said. "I feel like I'm in good shape since I just played in the NCAA championship game." She's been keeping busy with basketball and feels confident and ready to make her mark in the WNBA. As Caitlin's fame continues to rise, Indiana is also seeing a boost in new advertising partnerships. The Indiana Fever, influenced by Caitlin Clark's selection, recently signed a major ad deal with Indiana-based pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly. This partnership introduces jersey ads to the WNBA, following a trend seen across various professional sports leagues. Starting the season, Eli Lilly's logo will appear on the left shoulder of Fever jerseys, highlighting the growing collaboration between sports and business in the state. Pacers Sports and Entertainment CEO Rick Fuson expressed excitement about the partnership, emphasizing its potential to bring attention to important issues such as support for female athletes and community health initiatives in Indiana.
E-Dub compared Indiana to Hollywood when we talked to her. I know the excitement has kind of followed you for a little while, but I'm curious your spin on that and Indiana in particular.
I'll agree with E-Dub there, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
the excitement surrounding Caitlin Clark is unprecedented, and fans are eager to see her off the court just as much as on it. Fans are gearing up to watch Caitlin Clark make her WNBA debut this Friday, with the Indiana Fever set to take on the Dallas Wings in a preseason game. Despite being an exhibition match, ticket prices have surged, even surpassing those for a crucial NBA playoff game in Clark's new hometown. As of Wednesday afternoon, the cheapest ticket for the Fever vs. Wings game was a whopping $595 on TickPick. Located in Section 209, Row MM at the College Park Center in Arlington, Texas, including all fees. These prices are comparable to many regular season NBA tickets, and notably higher than the entry price for Thursday night's Pacers-Bucks NBA playoff game at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, which stood at $36 for the cheapest ticket on TickPick. The high ticket prices for the Fever Wings game can be attributed to the limited seating capacity at the College Park Center which can only accommodate around 7,000 spectators. This situation has prompted several WNBA teams to upgrade their arena arrangements in anticipation of matches against the Indiana Fever. The Fever, in turn, hosted all their games that season at Gainbridge Fieldhouse after previously playing at the smaller Indiana Farmers Coliseum. Other WNBA teams, like the Las Vegas Aces and Washington Mystics, also shifted their home games against the Fever to larger NBA-sized arenas to meet the demand from fans. The WNBA's Dallas Wings experienced a historic moment as they sold out season tickets for the first time in the franchise's history just before their preseason opener against the Indiana Fever on May 3rd. The anticipation surrounding Caitlin Clark's debut with the Fever fueled a surge in ticket demand, driving up sales for the Dallas team. Individual ticket prices for Clark's preseason debut ranged from $210 to $350, with some exceeding $1,000 in certain sections, according to UTA Tickets. The Wings also saw a significant increase in overall ticket sales revenue, with a staggering 220% rise, including an impressive 1,200% surge in individual ticket sales revenue, according to the Dallas Morning News. This surge highlights the profound impact of Clark's presence on both the Fever and the wider WNBA community, sparking unmatched excitement and engagement among fans. This is a 1 in a billion chance, but there are some incredibly rare moments in the NBA, like the most insane game winner. One of the most impossible dribbles.
LeBron drives in. Oh my!
Everything you see in this video is exceptionally rare. First, we've got Austin Reeves making a last-second shot that stunned everyone.
End to the second quarter, and the Lakers back up by 10. Let's go to Lisa.
He came in, nailed that three-pointer, and even hit a fan. That's a 1 in a trillion moment. JaVale McGee pulled off one of the rarest blocks you'll ever see when he swatted the ball with one hand.
Oh, McGee just grabs it. I told you, he's fun to watch. What a block.
Andrew Wiggins pulled up from the wing and made an unbelievable shot.
Draymond slips the screen. Wiggins from the wing. Oh, it did a victory lap.
LeBron has had some of the most extraordinary moments ever, but I've never seen him just stand there while cheerleaders danced around him. It almost looks like his controller died. Meanwhile, Indiana Pacer fans had their own wild moment when a bat flew into the arena and no one could catch it.
Is that a bat? And guys, everybody's a little leery.
Yeah, everybody is. You can see it right there flying across the floor. Where's Boomer?
At just 6 feet 2 inches, Gary Payton went up for a jump ball against the 7'1" Jonas Valanciunas and pulled off this move.
Kane Fitzgerald throws it high enough. Payton has great vertical. Look at Payton trying to move his hand. And Payton won it. GP2, young glove. He was excited about that one too.
I'd be thrilled too if I outjumped a giant, but I wouldn't be too happy about what Jeff Green did. He actually dunked the ball on his own head.
Because that's going to be important.
Doc saying that went in and hit one of the Knicks players on the head.
The guy gave himself a facial. You don't see that every day. And you also don't see shots like Corey Brewer's. After getting fouled by a defender, he took a shot from behind the backboard, and this happened.
Allison waiting to check in for Oklahoma City. Brewer hits the deck, and they're going to count that basket.
That guy's lucky the backboard is on his side, because it definitely isn't a fan of Danny Green. Green took a three-pointer that bounced around the rim and ended up sitting on top of the basket. I'm not sure how that even happens. Meanwhile, Spencer Dinwiddie tried to tip a loose ball to a teammate and ended up scoring by accident.
Tipped out again and up and in by Dinwiddie.
Of course, he played for the Wizards and knows a bit about magic, but this commentator had a talent for ruining clutch moments, as he mistook an air ball from Trevor Ariza for a game-winning three.
Beal driving, kicks it out. Ariza, baseline, dagger! Wow. Ariza from the baseline for Green, and the Wizards with a miraculous comeback in Washington. They're saying it did not go. Okay. Well, from our angle, it looked like it dropped straight through, but clearly
I have to admit, I thought that shot went in too. And I used to think Russell Westbrook was just a basketball player, but it turns out he has another role, mopping the court during his own game.
Situations offensively, as Russ is doing a little bit of house cleaning.
You know what? If you want the job done right, reminds me of the All-Star game in New York a couple years ago, where he did.
Now we need to discuss Marc Gasol, because he managed to knock Clint Capella's shoe right off the court.
Clint Capella loses his shoe.
And technical foul called on Marc Gasol for kicking the shoe.
That referee is really off his game, but honestly, all the refs seem to be. This one even ejected Anthony Davis just for tying his shoes.
I don't understand how you can lose your shoe. They don't strap him up very tight.
Oh, AD's been tossed. He's out of the game. They let him play on before AD could put the shoe on.
What does the ref expect him to do? Play barefoot? I'm not sure, but I do know that James Harden ended up playing on one foot. After injuring his ankle, he took one of the most unusual looking free throws ever. I wouldn't advise shooting like this guy though. He actually pulled up from behind the backboard.
Meeks on the drive, looking to draw contact, and counted and one.
I'd challenge him to make that shot again, but I wouldn't challenge anyone to pull off a play like this. Najee Marshall made one of the worst passes I've ever seen.
Wes has gotten 17 minutes off the bench. What in the heck?
Tony Allen went for a layup and ended up getting the ball stuck on the ramp.
The roll, the follow. What's it gonna do? What's it gonna do? It's gonna stick.
The ball essentially stopped being a ball in the middle of the play. While getting a layup stuck is uncommon, having an alley-oop get stuck is unheard of.
6.8 rebounds, 4.7 assists per game. Lob it up. Dunk attempt, wedgie. That doesn't happen.
You come across something new every day in the NBA. For example, the Raptors once had two players block a shot simultaneously. The Raptors had me seeing double, but Vince Carter had me seeing triple. He launched a full court shot, and it actually went in.
Last shot here. Vince.
Let's be honest, that shot had no business going in. I'm surprised it even got close. Meanwhile, this pass from Amare Stoudemire missed badly.
Stoudemire's right. He throws it to a woman sitting there courtside.
Who is he even passing to? A ghost? It seems like some NBA players make baffling decisions. Like this guy who tried to check into the game without a jersey.
To be fair, he had been injured. He hadn't played in 3 months, and there was it. When he took off his warm-up, it looked like it came off with it.
What on earth is he thinking? It's probably the same thing DeMar DeRozan is, because this guy passed the ball right to the other team's bench.
35 points in the period as DeRozan throws it away, and this one.
Honestly, that's not even DeRozan's fault. Sure, Joakim Noah was wearing the same colors and trying to trick him, but there's no fooling Steven Adams. This guy can do the unbelievable. One time, he got fouled so hard that he broke his shooting hand, but instead of leaving the game, he walked up to the free throw line and gave it his all.
Cheering him on. He wants to stay in the game. How about that?
In 2006, David Lee stunned everyone. With just 0.1 seconds left in the second overtime, the Knicks were tied with the Bobcats at 109. 109 when suddenly,
as they throw it at the basket.
he made it just in time, proving that in the NBA, everything can shift in the blink of an eye. The Nuggets mascot learned this the hard way when he tried to dunk off a trampoline to impress the crowd. And suddenly, Mutombo is a real menace. He even threw the ball at him, which is basically assault. But we have one final moment that shocked everyone. A time when a Kings fan sitting courtside got so drunk that he ended up stinking up the entire arena.
Man, they must have spilled a keg over there or something. I don't know what happened.
man, I think there's a reason why. Yeah, you're holding your nose. Oh, boy.
The commentator was spot on. He really messed up. That's definitely a fail.